Hey Canucks fans, it sounds like Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes may not be signing matching contracts after all. I'm Canuck Clay. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, June the 14th. Subscribe for Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Want to get into this? Rick Dhaliwal has been talking about this. Elliotte Friedman has been talking about this. And by the way, I'm going old school. Long time ago, I used to use a lapel mic. So I'm trying it today just for a change as opposed to my Rode mic. Tell me if you like it better, if you like it worse, or if it's no difference to you. Anyways, let's talk about these contracts for Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson. A lot of people thought that they'd get matching contracts, especially when they both went under the same banner. They both went under the same agency and agents. And people thought it was maybe a bit of a power move given that they're pretty close friends and they're the two cornerstones of our franchise going forward. So many people looked at it as a way for them to not only negotiate together, but to get, whether you call them matching deals or similar deals when it came to both money and term. And I always said that I thought that Pettersson would make more than Hughes. Generally, forwards generally make more than defensemen do. And even if they were going to get the same amount of term, i.e. 3 years, bridge deals, I said PD might get 6.5, 7.5, whereas maybe Hughes is more 5.5, 6 million. Well, it sounds like they might not even get matching terms now because Rick Dhaliwal has been reporting on this for a little bit. And then they had Elliotte Friedman on Donnie and Dolly earlier today on the check. And Friedman kind of confirmed what Dhaliwal was saying, that they're probably looking at different types of terms for these two players. For Pettersson, it does look like it's going to be a 3-year bridge contract. And really quickly, why is this important, bridge versus long term? In general terms, you have control over a player for the first 7 years of their career. And that's why generally an entry-level contract is 3 years. And then for the second contract, that's the big decision point. Because if you sign for a guy for another 2 or 3 years, basically that only gets him to 5 or 6 years, and then you get a chance to do a third contract with that player. So that's a bridge deal. And that's usually show me what you can do, prove to me a little more what you can do, and then we'll negotiate in earnest really hard for your third contract, the big contract. The second option would be to do what Quinn Hughes might be considering, and that's what's called a long-term contract. So instead of going a 2 or 3 year bridge, 4 years the absolute worst, right? Because 3 year entry level plus 4 year second contract brings you to 7 years, and now you're UFA. So 4 year contract does not make any sense. 5 years not so good either, because really you only get 1 year of their UFA years. So if you're looking long-term, it's best to look at 6 or 7 years, because then at least, that's 6 or 7 years from now, and then you're getting 2 or 3 of his UFA years as well. So that's the biggest difference. We're okay with 2 or 3 years. We're okay with 6 or 7 years. 5 isn't great, and 4 is just the biggest mistake ever. But I don't think the Canucks will do that. So having said that, Pettersson, 3 years, bridge deal. They're talking about Matthew Barzal type numbers. Barzal signed before last season, for 3 years at $7 million a year, so $21 million. When people were first saying that at the start of the year for Pettersson, they're saying, no, he's going to make way more than Barzal. He's better than Barzal. Then PD gets hurt. You see how Barzal had a pretty good season and especially is doing well in the playoffs. And you might actually say to yourself, actually, that comparison isn't that far off. Some would even say that maybe Pettersson isn't even worth Barzal money right now because of his injury. Regardless, I think that 3 years at $7 million a year, that's a reasonable benchmark, whether it's a tiny bit less or a tiny bit more. I don't think anyone's going to worry too much about that. So let's say that that's probably the plan for PD. 3 years at around Matthew Barzal money of $7 million a year. Quinn Hughes is the more interesting one. When we were talking about bridge deals at the start of the season, you look at guys like Charlie McAvoy and Zach Werenski, and they signed deals that were about 3 years, $5.5 million. If you go longer term, you usually end up getting a bigger contract because that's just kind of the way it goes. The longer terms, because a player is committing to a team for a longer amount of time, they're going to ask for more money. They've basically done their show me deal kind of thing, and they're ready to get paid from a bigger standpoint. So yeah, if it was a bridge deal for Quinn Hughes, I could see around McAvoy and Werenski money, $5.5 million, maybe 5.75, whatever. Hughes had an okay season, not the best season. His rookie season was a lot better. Well, the whole team was a lot better 2 years ago. But then if you go long term for Quinn Hughes, and again, that should be a 6 or 7 year deal, not a 4 year deal, not a 5 year deal, but a 6 or 7 year deal, then what type of money are you looking at? Are you looking at a $6 million, $6.5 million, $7 million deal because Quinn Hughes is basically, is saying, I'm committing to this team now, long term, I'm committing to a contract right now. And that's the number. Admittedly, I haven't really thought about that number for Hughes. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here without really preparing much. Remember, all in one take. Maybe a 6 or 7 year deal gets him in that type of money, $6 or $7 million, as opposed to a 5.5 or 6 that he might make on a bridge. So maybe add $1 million a year, or add $1.5 million a year. So maybe instead of 5.5 a year, he's making 6.5 to 7 a year. So that would be kind of crazy actually if they signed Petey for $7 million a year, but only for 3 years, a bridge deal. But then they sign Hughes for 6.5 or $7 million a year, and that is a long-term deal. When I say 6.5 to 7, it kind of makes sense when you think that Myers is making $6 million a year, Edler made $6 million a year, and you could argue that Hughes is already better than those two players and will be a lot better, so he should make more than those guys. But how much more? I don't think we're talking about 7.5 or 8. I think we're looking at somewhere between $6 and $7 million a year. So there's a couple predictions, a couple thoughts for you. I would love your comments down below. If it's indeed a bridge deal for Pettersson, does 3 years at $7 million a year, i.e. Matthew Barzal money, make sense to you? Is that too high or too low? And for Quinn Hughes, let's presume that he is going to go 6 or 7 years. What would you pay him? Is it kind of like what I'm saying, $6.5 to $7 million a year for that contract? Would love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment below in the comment section, and I would love to read, react, and reply as always. It is Monday, so that means it's Canucks After Dark, me and Parker, 10 p.m. Pacific time. That's tonight, so I hope you join me. It's on YouTube. I'll share the links a little bit later. Thanks to everyone who joined me for last night's live stream. Had a lot of fun talking about next week, what it's going to look like for me. The Clay Tridium of Father's Day on the 20th, the first day of summer on the 21st, and my birthday on the 22nd. Talked about maybe live streaming after Canucks After Dark next week from 11:30 to 12 and bring in my birthday with my friends here on YouTube, or maybe I just live stream the next day on my actual birthday, or maybe I don't live stream at all and I just hang out with my family. So we had a pretty funny discussion about that yesterday. Check out the live stream, my video, if you haven't checked it out already. Also, shout out to my Hall of Fame members: Jens95, Sim Alexander, Justin Credible, Nux Van number 29, Lucas Gates, Chris Seifert, Adam Broomfield, Shea Family Channel, Jamie Sports Talk and more, and Shannon Hollingworth. Thanks for your support as always, and thanks to the support of all members of all levels. You're listed in my video descriptions. If you want to become a member of the CCC crew, press the join button underneath this or in my videos, or in the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. And lastly, for franchise and Hall of Fame members, I said 7:30 for my Zoom chat. I'm going to bump that to 8 o'clock because I think I might be at my church until 7:30 or 7:45. So I'll share that link later, but it'll be 8 o'clock this Sunday for that Zoom chat for franchise and Hall of Fame members. All right, Canucks fans, talk to me about PD, talk to me about Quinn Hughes, talk to me about term and money. Leave a comment below. I would love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Become a member of this channel if you'd like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.